Bob, it is good to see you. Uh, Today I want to talk about something that you and everyone else would be passionate about. We're talking about tipping. So, uh, look, I I now get the tip jar when I pay my mortgage. I'm not I am not kidding. When my son takes the trash out, he wants a tip. That one's like, but like even when I get the worst possible service, there's someone there flipping some kind of machine on with the calculations already done for me, asking me to tip. But it's also random because I think about fast food drive-throughs, and there are times I get good service there and I want to tip. They don't have a tip jar. So, hey, whatever your union or whoever your representatives is, you too deserve a tip jar. But to step back from all of it, Bob, you know I can be a little bit of a hellraiser. I think not only is tipping gone too far, I think we should just end the whole tipping thing completely. Surely you agree with me on this,
Yeah, to a point, but recently I had my car repaired, and
right?
um, it's a one man shop. I think it's his wife in the business office. He's got a couple of other mechanics running around, but he's always the one that I give the information about what my problems are and whatever. And I went in and I paid, and
Right?
she, with all of her proudness and no delay at all, flipped around the square machine and said, "If you'd like to leave a tip for the mechanic, it's right there." And so in the moment, I'm thinking, okay, well, I'm gonna look like I'm cheap if I don't leave a tip. But first of all, I don't even know whether you fix my car. So a tip would be on whether you fix my car or not. But I love my mechanic, but I'm not interested in beginning a tipping relationship. So so I think I get why you say remove it all, but I think probably we keep the ones that we are traditionally there. First of all, the restaurant industry would have to be radically changed because they have become consistent with paying less than
Yeah, there's
minimum
laws.
wage.
Yes,
Right.
there's laws around that.
It's yeah. So is Europe? Did you tell me? I don't think Europe. Most of Europe doesn't tip,
Nope,
right?
nope.
Tell me
We
about that.
import. So listen, the crazy thing about this is we imported tip-in from Europe, right? It became really, but it became really popular, of course, during segregation. As people, people of color couldn't get jobs, and this was the jobs of that. And then we took it to the nth degree. Europe doesn't have tipping anymore. Almost every part of the world has eliminated the thing, and we have held on to it, and we have bastardized it to the point of I don't. None of the rules make any sense anymore. So yeah, when you go to Europe, I've remember there've been occasions where I've tried to leave a tip, and that is oh, here's this friggin' American. Like it's a dead giveaway that you're from the U.S. We're the only ones who continue to do this.
Yeah, I think we've been conditioned to expect to tip people like at a restaurant, massage therapists. My wife tips her hair salon person. Um, so you and I are contact center guys, and I was
Right.
surprised. I got an email from a company this past week with a survey for a recent call, and it gave me the opportunity to tip the agent.
No, that's not.
I'm
That's
lying. I'm lying.
oh.
I made that up. But I wonder why that hasn't become a thing. I wonder why that hasn't become a thing. Right? Like, okay, well, the person that helped me, I think about that for a moment. Who
Right.
helped you the most over the last 5 to 10 days?
Of course.
Probably somebody. If you're like me, I find myself on a 800 number talking with somebody about some problem. Uh,
Right.
2 or 3 times a week. So I don't know, is that
It,
coming?
you know,
Probably not. But
it,
let's
well,
hope.
well,
Uh,
it might. And let's stay on service for a moment.
yeah.
I want to put to bed the case for tipping, and I would love to hear your rebuttal to this. Number one, what really offends me most about tipping, even in the restaurant industry, so I would be for changing the laws, is that what I hear people like you say that the good thing about tipping is it rewards good service and any of that. Well, two things. Number one, it's not true. It's not true in that countless studies have shown that there is no correlation between waitresses or service people who give good service and their tips. What correlates to good tips are looks, right? I don't want to be crass, but if you're a good looking woman and those are the things that rewards tips. The other part is, Bob, I came to eat at this restaurant. I don't want to manage your employees. Like, I don't want another job. If your employee sucks, allow me to give that feedback and you manage them. Don't make this poor lady, is your whole point that if she's bad at her job, she's not gonna have enough money to make rent? Like what are we like what are we doing here? Like fire her if she's not, or him or her if they're not good at their job. So I am struggling, Bob, to find good reasons why we continue to do tipping.
Well, I think we're hitting on another one of those that tradition is hard to break.
Yeah,
It is hard in certain industries. It would require a change in the law to make a difference. But I understand what you're saying. I just think we're throwing, to use my grandmother's phrase, I think we're throwing the baby out with the bathwater.
well,
Uh,
did people actually throw the babies out? How did this thing become a
I don't know, and I don't know why you would. I don't know how you could pick up the tub to get the bathwater and throw it. But I don't think. I think tipping has its place in the American culture. Um, but I would not be like, if we tomorrow passed a law that tipping was not going to be anymore, and we
you won't
fixed
be
all of the
protesting?
disparity. The problem is the disparity of service
Yeah,
and the disparity of pay. And so when I look at what somebody's making working at the coffee shop, uh, I can stand there and go, well, all I did was you took my order and I handed you my money. But if I get a good coffee, how do I tip that person? And
right,
so what they even do there, as I understand it, is they uh, take the whole the tip jar, and spread it across everyone.
right,
So now you got a rude person at the front cashier. You got a great person working at the getting the coffee out, and
right.
I'm giving money to both of them. So you know,
Le-
I'm I could go either way on this one.
Well, so let's try and fix it. So
All right,
realistically, it's not going away. Here would be some of my thoughts on reform on how we can fix it. I think don't tip your mechanic. That's that that would be the first one. But I think if you are more intentional about where you tip, I heard this somewhere and it always stuck with me that when you go to a hotel, the bellman who pushes your bag, gets it into your room, you are obligated to tip that person. In fact, the guy or the gal is waiting for you to tip them. But studies have shown no
is it
one.
$2 a bag, or is it $5 a bag, or does it depend on how my wife packs as to whether or not I can afford $5 a bag? Like, well, I don't know what the amount is.
Exactly, it's random. But Bob, you know who doesn't get tipped? The lady who cleans your filthy room. And it's
Well,
because he or she's not standing there and you don't feel like that's who deserves the tip. And I think it's also the random who gets tips, who's not allowed to get tipped, that makes it a little more. So that would be where I would like to see some change if this thing is here to stay.
just a comment. So there, I do know people who leave tips in the room for the cleaning lady.
I
I,
do.
I always, uh, I'm not one of those people. So I probably just outed myself that somebody who's in customer service because I don't know what the proper process is. Now, when I got on a Disney cruise, I thought it was interesting that they automatically on the last day took out a certain amount of money out of my account for
Right.
tipping the person who took care of my room. That too is broken because if he's going to get $25 for every room, uh, then you just added a fee, an
Right.
additional cost into my cruise that I
Right.
may or may not have known about. If you open the tip up to where I can give him $10 if I kept finding my dirty towels, or I can open him to 25. But we belabored the point. I think everybody gets it. Tipping is frustrating in America. It is just a frustrating process. And your point of tipping to the person who truly gives you great service
Right.
is where I want to be.
Awesome. I think the last thing I would just say to folks is don't be obligated to tip. At the end of the day, um, don't feel pressured. Good for you, Bob, for not feeling pressured at your mechanic. That's the craziest one.
Well, and
What about you?
I'll take the other side of that because that's what we typically do. Is holidays are a great time to tip. If you haven't, even if you don't tip normally, a little extra in the receipt or in the credit card transaction is a good thing.
Awesome. Well, that's our show for this week. Yet again, I took Bob to the woodshed, and I won this debate as I always do every week.
I think we need to add something at the bottom of our podcast where people can vote on who took who.
We'll let the people decide. Have a good one, everyone.